Ladies and gentlemen, and boys and girls, you're watching yet another episode of Eric Lima Shenanigans 1977. It's time for WWE Evolve Event Center, where wrestling action involves the WWE ID prospects, the PC prospects, and indie wrestlers from all over the world. Ladies and gentlemen, and here's the man to bring you the wrestling report and action from the WWE Evolve Event Center, Mr. Eric M. Lima. Thank you very much, Mr. Announcer, sir. Well, hello there, everyone. Welcome to yet another episode of Eric Lima Shenanigans on 1977, episode 2313 of the show. How's it going, everybody? Hope you guys are having a wonderful day. It is June the 12th, 2025, 2:45 p.m. on a lovely Thursday afternoon. As you know, we're almost done with the work week. I got one more day. That's tomorrow, Friday the 13th. I know, yada, 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 and all that good stuff. But we got to talk wrestling here. We're gonna talk wrestling, and we're gonna talk about what happened last night. And like I said, due to time constraints, I was unable to give out the results for both Evolve and AEW Summer Blockbuster 2025, ladies and gentlemen. And we're gonna talk a little bit about it. We'll start with Evolve, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to start with Evolve, and then on the next episode, we'll do AEW Summer Blockbuster, and then another episode. Almost fell down my chair there. I got a few packages that I'm going to unravel, and we'll get to it right away. So we'll get to it when we come to it. All right, let's talk about what happened. The Vanity Project kicked off Evolve to celebrate Jackson Drake's WWE Evolve Championship victory. As you know, Jackson Drake is the first WWE Evolve champion, and and he knows as long as the Vanity Project's got his back, I think everything is okay. And I think Swipe to become tag team champions, and I'm sure Zeta Steel down the road will probably want to be WWE Evolve Women's Champion. And it seems to me that but will the Vanity Project stand strong? I kind of hopes for their sake, because I think Jackson Drake, when you have that title, sometimes your head's a little bit too big. So we'll see how this plays out with the Vanity Project. And then Lindsay Dorado responds to the Vanity Project and didn't interrupt him. He says, "You know what? There's a lot of you guys and only one of me. I'm gonna have to recruit some good friends of mine to help me out. Will AAA wrestlers be involved in Evolve? Let's see what the Lucha Legend has up his sleeve for the Vanity Project." So looks like Lindsay Dorado wants a shot at the title. We'll see what happens. They got Swipe Right, Ricky Smokes and Brad Baylor. And you got big man Bryce Donovan to back them up. So you're talking about 4-on-1, Lindsay. You better get 3 of your friends and recruit them. And recruit somebody to keep an eye on Zeta Steel. Well, the High Rise addresses Cappuccino Jones, mainly Wes Lee, who's facing them tonight. And Wes Lee does declare himself as the gatekeeper to NXT. And we'll see how that fares when Cappuccino Jones challenges Wes Lee 1-on-1 later on in the matchup. Later on in the event. And Cappuccino Jones was talking to Jack Cartwheel about the High Rise and Wesley to respond to what Wesley had to say. And the Cappuccino Jones is very, very determined to defeat Wesley to pick up an upset victory over him. We've got to remind you, Wesley is a former NXT Tag Team Champion and a former NXT North American Champion. So we'll see how that rolls out. Meanwhile, women's tag team matchup to kick off for the first piece of action. Mason Holiday and Layla Diggs to take on the team of the Vanity Project, Zeta Steel, and the lovely, gorgeous, and curvaceous Big Cat Keita herself, Nikita Lyons. It seems like she went to Evolve to improve on her wrestling skills. But you got to remember, as Faith the Lion, she's a former WOW Women's World Champion. So that's something to bear in mind. And interesting way of Zeta Steel tagging herself in with Nikita Lyons, slapping her on her, let's just say, nice curvaceous posterior, or derriere, I should say that. And during the matchup, though, Chantel Monroe shows up at ringside and distracted Mason Holiday and Layla Diggs. Zeta Steele and Big Cat Keita, Nikita Lyons, took advantage of that situation, ended up defeating the team of Mason Holiday and Layla Diggs. Meanwhile, Troy Yearwood is going by the name now. Now we saw a lot of LFG season 1 contestants already making their mark in NXT and Evolve. You got Jasper Troy and Tyra May Steele, the winners of the LFG season 1, will be have already made an impact on the NXT roster. Meanwhile, Jin Tala, formerly known as Lee Laurel, picked up a victory over Carly Bright last week. This week, however, Troy Yearwood's going to get a shot against It's Gal. And Troy Yearwood's not going to go by that name. He's going to go by the name of Jamar Hampton. And Callie Armstrong's getting some veteran advice by Natalia. And Natalia, if I were Callie Armstrong, I would listen to Natalia. Because Natalia, she's been around the block with this thing, okay? In this wrestling business. I mean, she is a third-generation wrestler, for one. Callie Armstrong, you may be the Evolve Women's Champion, but sometimes you have to swallow your pride, like Natalia says. And you know what? When Natalia, speaks, you better listen. She, like I said, she is part of one of the most prestigious wrestling families ever in the Hart family. So if I were you, Miss Callie Armstrong, I would listen to every single word Natalia has to say. I would take her advice to heart, no pun intended. And not only that, Callie Armstrong, you better learn to respect Natalia. So there's that. Jamar Hampton went one-on-one with It's Gal. And, It's Gal. Jamar Hampton is very, very built, well built, jacked up, ready to go. Heck of a matchup between, It's Gal, who considers himself an action figure in total perfection. But in the end, Hampton picked up the victory over the WWE ID prospect in It's Gal. So there's that. And Chewy Martinez interviewed the newest member of the Evolve roster, Marcus Mathers, another WWE ID guy, and he's ready to make an impact on this Evolve roster. And I'm going to tell you something right now, guys. Marcus Mathers could be a man of a future champion in Evolved. And Joan Oasis promo on his beginnings. In this case, he's been like a nomad, wandering around, with his bag and all. So and all I know is Joan Oasis is going to be A-OK. He's going to have a bright future in the WWE. Well, the main event, Cappuccino Jones and Wes Lee went one-on-one, but during the matchup, though, the High Rise, that's Tyreek Igwe and Tyson Dupont, gets involved. Jack Cartwheel tries to even the score, but the referee says, you know what, all three of you ejected from ringside. But despite that, though, Wesley ended up picking up the victory over Cappuccino Jones. That is going to be a wild one. Well, we're now with the Evolve Men and Women's Champions in the books. The first champions, Jackson Drake and Callie Armstrong. Like I said, both of them may be champions now. They better be careful with their words, and they better be careful what they say. You never know who's listening. You never know who in the WWE roster is listening. Natalia's been a veteran, like I say, in the Ring Wars for a long, long time, and she's part of that prestigious wrestling family, the Hart family. So if I were, like I said, again, Callie Armstrong, better heed the words of Natalia. As far as Jackson Drake goes, dude, you may hold out a backup and you can run your mouth about it, but one of these days, that big mouth of yours, Jackson Drake, could get you in humongous trouble. So if I were you, Jackson Drake, you better keep Swipe Right and Bryce Donovan close to you, because you're gonna need them if you're gonna retain that title. Lindsay Dorado's already thinking about getting a crew together to get at you. So if I were Jackson Drake, I would if I were you, I would If I were you, Jackson Drake, you better be very, very careful about what you do inside that square circle. Well, that is it for today's episode of the show. Once again, episode 2313. And I'm hoping to... I got a couple more episodes to go. I got one for the AEW Summer Blockbuster. And I got 3 items. 3 items from eBay. I didn't think they were going to come in all at once. Well, they did. So, I will see you guys later. You guys have a wonderful and great day. It's a hot one out there. If you live in the Bedford area or in the local area and it's hot where you are, please keep cool. Drink some water. Keep yourself cool. If you have to stay inside, set up your air conditioner. Crank that sucker up high. That way you can stay cool. So, I will see you guys later on the next episode. We're going to talk some AEW Summer Blockbuster from last night as well. So, thank you for tuning in, and until next episode comes rolling around, Mr. Announcer, take us home. That is all for today's episode of the show. This is Mr. Announcer speaking for Eric Lima Shenanigans of 1977. A Big Beefy E and do it for Bob Saget production, and in association with a Raving Bull for 3000 Telepictures and Distribution. Thank you for watching another episode of Eric Lima Shenanigans of 1977. See you later on the next episode of the show. Goodbye for now.